What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon. I'm coming to you back with another video. It's been kind of slow. We had our mini bye this past weekend, so I'm pretty sure they had, the first few days, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, after our Thursday game off. So there hasn't been a whole lot. I do got a couple things for you today, and going into this next week, I will have more videos. Looks like we, should be getting back into the normal schedule of things. I believe tomorrow they'll have a day off, though, their normal Tuesday day off, back to practice on Wednesday. So it'll be more to talk about. I do got a couple things, though, for you today. First and foremost, talking about trade rumors, because there has been, talk about that. It does not look like we are going to be active before the trade deadline. Does not look like Devontae Parker's going anywhere. So, it is what it is. Something could happen, of course. You never know, and obviously, they're not gonna show all their cards when they're asked about it and stuff like that. But it seems unlikely that we're gonna be active in this trade deadline. We made a couple roster moves. We waived safety Maurice Smith and defensive tackle Jamias Pittman to make room for linebacker Mike Hull and center Jake Brendel off the IR. And before I throw you off to Gase's interview, I have his interview from today. Before I give you to that, I want to talk about, just mention a couple of things about it. He talked about, well, first of all, Ryan Tannehill's throwing, which is good. I don't know if he's going to be ready for this upcoming game. Gase was kind of saying he's kind of day-to-day about it, so we'll have to see. But he is getting throwing again, and he's looking all right. Seems to be feeling all right, so hopefully we can get him back as soon as possible for sure. And obviously we need to get guys healthy, just period. That was one thing Gase said. He was like, I'm hoping that, for this second half of the season we can stay healthy, stop losing guys, because, since we've lost so many guys, a bunch of guys on IR, still some guys hurt that are out right now, it's thinned us out a lot, on the defensive line, on the in the wide receiver group, right? So he's hoping that, we stay a bit healthy. I want to mention that because, he's recognizing, not using it as an excuse, but it's just a fact. We've been super hurt. We've been decimated by injuries throughout the season, the first half of the season so far, and that has it's like I said, that was one of the major factors into, how the season's played out. It was funny, though. I also wanted to comment on something else he said, because he was talking about, somebody asked him how Brock was doing, Osweiler, and he said he's been doing really well, and he has been the past few games that he's played. But and he talked about how last game, he threw that interception, but he said that he had said, Brock did what he had to do. He got the ball off at the right time in the right place. And he was like, but there were other factors, on that play, which to me is, head coach, politically correct speak for, there was a blatant holding call on Danny Amendola that prevented him from being in the right spot. Brock threw it at the right time to the right place. The receiver wasn't there because of the hold, and it didn't get called. So, the two things that to me have caused us so much trouble, I've said it before in the first half of the season, are the injuries and, the bad officiating. Again, just to be clear so people don't freak out, that's not to say there haven't been, breakdowns or mental mistakes or some bad play calling here and there, right? I'm not saying any of that. But to me, when I look at the totality of everything that happened, the biggest impacts have been the injuries, losing all of these guys at such key places, and, just the terrible officiating, the absolutely terrible officiating. So anyway, enough of that. I'm gonna go ahead and send you. Before one more thing before I do go to the interview. I have a question that I haven't answered because I haven't made a video in a couple days. It comes from Mr. 305 for Real channel. He says he has a question. There's a rumor going around about Vance Joseph, the Denver Broncos head coach, who was our defensive coordinator. He left after the first year with us to go to Denver to become the head coach. There's talk that he might be getting fired this season, and he wants to know if we would consider bringing back Vance Joseph and fire Matt Burke and get another linebacker coach. First of all, I personally don't think that Matt Burke's the issue, I guess. I mean, I'm not saying he's been perfect, so on and so forth. I'm sure there's play calls he could, he wants back and could have done better at. But again, it's the injuries to me is, one of the biggest factors, and whatever. Anyway, so I don't think that's really an issue. I don't know that we would bring Vance Joseph back personally. We did do all right with him, but I don't have the statistics on hand. But if I remember correctly, just off the top of my head, even with Vance Joseph, our defense was just kind of all right. I know we still weren't stellar against the run that year. I think we were like middle of the pack overall, which is better than where we are currently. I personally don't think it's going to happen. I think the coaching staff, I think after this year, no matter how, unless we lose the next 8 games and it just completely, there's a major implosion, and even if there was, I personally wouldn't want to see any changes in the front office or the coaching staff per se. Maybe a tweak here and there on the coaching staff, but I would want to keep things together. And even with most of the players, I would just want to keep things together. Sure, it would be a disaster of a season if we lost the rest of our games, blah, blah, blah. But I think there's more to it than, what people are harping on. I think they're focusing on some of the wrong things. And I want to see, like I said, I think that a front office and a coaching staff needs 5 years together before you can make before you can make a solid decision. I think in the NFL, especially the way it is, with the way it's designed with free agency and stuff, I think you need 5 years to be able to tell, generally speaking anyway. I think Joe Philbin was clearly not, a head coach, and it was probably better to move on from him sooner rather than later. But most of the head coaches we've had over the past 5 years, or the past, couple decades, I'd say a lot of them probably just didn't even get the chance that they needed, to perform. And I think Joe Philbin probably got longer than he should have. But anyway, so hopefully that answers your question. I don't think we will end up having Vance Joseph back as our defensive coordinator. I would like to see it kind of stay as it is, and I think it probably will stay as it is. I don't believe there's going to be any crazy turnover after this season. And hopefully, we get guys healthy, things get fixed, the mistakes get fixed, and they play, a much better second half of the season. We rip off 8 straight wins and go 12-4 like I said we were gonna, right? So hopefully that's the case. Obviously, the odds are kind of long to do that, but I got trust in this team and this coaching staff and everything like that, so it's gonna happen. But anyway, guys, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and throw you off to this interview. But before I do, I got to give you my spiel as always. If you like the interview, after you see it, if you like my videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts and the notifications. Make sure you hit the like button. Share it with your friends and family. Post on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere you want to. Throw it out there. Get it out into the web. And make sure you leave your questions, comments, concerns. I do like interacting with you guys. I like answering them to the best of my ability. And I do it here in my videos as often as I can when I get them, so please do that. And then, of course, follow me on Twitter as well. It's at Dillon Tartaro. My Twitter handle is on my end screen, so check that out if you need the spelling. And with that said, guys, I am out. I will see y'all soon. Let's get geared up. Let's have a good week of practice. Let's get ready for the New York Jets at home. This is a game that we absolutely should win. We're at home. The Jets are not a particularly good team, and we should be able to come away with this W to start our win streak and get this shit back right and get ourselves to the playoffs. So with that, guys, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up, baby.
I mean, we got some things to fix, obviously, the last 2 weeks. Haven't really gone as we thought. You know, we need to make sure that we get a lot of things corrected and make some adjustments, make sure that we have the right guys in the field. You know, it'll be nice if we get some of these guys back that have been banged up, and probably a few days off wouldn't hurt us, you know, kind of getting a little bit of those 2 days on this weekend, and then today and tomorrow we're not practicing, so we should be pretty good on Wednesday.
What did you figure out or guess decide over this weekend, you know, after kind of evaluating everything?
Well, I think on both sides of the ball we have plenty of room for improvement. You know, defensively we just have to do a better job of all three levels really playing together. You know, we can't have, you know, two guys here off track and, you know, two different guys in the next play. We have to do a better job of playing as a group. Offensively, we need to keep making strides where offensive line and the running backs are on the same page in the run game, and then getting the ball out on time and making sure we're in, you know, right spots as receivers.
I'm going to pick your favorite topic. Do you have anything for us on Ryan?
No.
No update from the last time you talked to us?
Nope.
Are you expecting that he's going to practice Wednesday?
I mean, he'll be out there no matter what. I don't know what we're going to do throwing wise, so I'll have a better idea probably Tuesday. You know, where really they'll give me an answer of one way or the other.
The last couple of weeks, I think the reason why we're asking now is because the last couple of weeks you've decided early. So,
right.
I mean, are you going to go into Wednesday with a starter, or are you going to play it out all the way until Sunday?
I mean, I'd like to be able to say, hey, this is what we're doing Wednesday, or at least for me to know. I might not tell you guys, but, you know, yeah, I really don't care. But, you know, we'll see. I don't know right now.
He was throwing a tennis ball last week.
Yep. I mean, we're slowly progressing. You know, he's making steps where, you know, he's in position where he can throw, you know, a football, and we're gaining strength in that area, and we'll see more in the next 2 days of how he feels the next day after, you know, when he does get a chance to throw, you know, how sore he is the next day or how much power he feels like he has. I mean, it's just an unusual, like we talked about the other day, just kind of an unusual injury. And there's a lot of gray where when we ask for information, you get a lot of gray back, so that makes it tough.
You think he is throwing a football now?
Yeah, I mean, he can throw a football. It's just whether or not he can. Yeah, I mean, it's just whether or not how much power can he put behind the ball.
Yeah.
Like he might be like when he first tried to, even that week when he tried to throw, he's throwing and everything looks normal, but it's like for him, he's like, I'm not getting that stroke that I want. I'm not getting the power behind it and being able to throw with the velocity I want. So that's really what it's going to come down to is when he does throw the next day, how does he feel? And then can he repeat what he did the day before? Because we got to be careful here, because when you're starting quarterback, you go out there, you throw 100+ balls the next day, and you're coming off an injury like that, and you haven't thrown in a while. You just got to be careful of that.
I think everybody around here admires his pain tolerance and toughness. Is he going to? How do you interpret what he says?
Yeah, my thoughts go the same direction. Where I know he is. If he says something bothers him, then I'm assuming it really is bad, because he normally doesn't say anything. Like you.
He might say he's fine.
Right. I mean, I told him, I was like, I have to trust you in this. Like, you have to be honest with me. Like, you can't like not be okay and then tell me you're great.
If he's not okay, does he know that could exacerbate the problem if he's not completely?
He understands that. He understands that if he gives me wrong information, that could make it worse. So I feel like he's in a good place. I know it's killing him because he wants to do anything he can to help us, and you know. But at the same time, we have to be smart, because I don't want this to turn into like we try one week and then it gets a huge setback and now it's worse than what it was before.
Have you been happy with Osweiler?
Yeah, he's done a great job. I think there's a lot of things that he's done that have been positive for us. I mean, you know, the change out in wide receivers last week, I thought he handled that really well. You know, it was unfortunate. You know, I thought he threw a really good ball and it ended up being intercepted, but you know, there's other factors that are involved in that, and you know, for the most part, he's protected the ball and got us moving up and down the field. We got to clean up some of the red area stuff or the high red area, give us a chance in the low.
How important is it for Ryan to return, and what do you think he wants to prove by coming back this season?
I think he just wants to feel right. I think he just wants to get healthy, you know, and I think anytime that you can get your starting quarterback back, that's probably positive. You know?
I guess there was a lot of talk coming into the year about Ryan's improvement and what he could do this year. How has the injury sort of, you know, changed maybe that view?
I don't think it has for me. I think it's a very unusual situation. You know, he took a very odd hit, and his body was in a weird position, and that was something. I wish I could say he could have controlled that, but we found ourselves in a little bit of a hole, and where we were trying to take a shot down the field, and he held on to it and tried to give us the best chance possible, and he took a violent hit. It kind of really, you know, put him in a position where the guy got a good stroke on him, and it affected him. And I think mentally he's in a great spot. You know, I thought his body was in a decent spot everywhere else until that happened. So, I mean, we were heading in the right direction. We just, you know, had a little bit of that setback.
Like you said, it's not out of his control, but 20 games missed in the last 2 years. It's
Yeah, I mean, before I got here, it was, hey, you had played how everybody told me you never got hurt. So, I mean, the narrative swings so fast. You know, I mean, I think that was the ACL was a weird deal. I mean, you know, he got hit in a very, very poor throwing position. I mean, all his weight was on that leg, and he took like a weird hit. You know, I mean, it happens to a lot of guys, and this one, same thing. He was kind of in a bad position, and it was just an unlucky event.
Sometimes it's pretty clear whether the team's a buyer or seller at the trade deadline. At 4-4, do you see this as an opportunity to get your team better now? Is that something you're even considering?
Yeah, I haven't even really thought about it. I like where we're at right now. I like this group. You know, I'd like to stay healthy from here on out. I don't think we got much more room for, you know, losing guys for the year. I think we've maxed out on that. But for the most part, I feel like we have the right guys. We just have to clean up, especially on defense. We have to clean up a couple things that could help us prevent these explosive plays, because that's really that's hurting us more than anything.
Do you think you could go to Mike and say, hey, there's this guy that's available. He could be really helpful?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do that, because they're probably going to come to me before I go to them, because that's what these guys do all day long, every day, all year long. So I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about coaching the guys that are on our team. So
You talked defensively about, you know, execution just now, and you've got a couple guys here and there maybe aren't doing their jobs. How about schematically? How are you okay schematically?
all right. There needs to be some things that we clean up. We kind of need to address and adjust, which that's part of football, and that happens every year. A lot of times that people don't know about, and we're not going to sit there and do the same exact thing over and over again and think it's just going to fix itself. And you know, we'll do what's best for this game, and then when we hit the next game, we'll do what's best for that game, and that needs to be our mindset in all three phases, and that's what it is going to be. And we'll make sure that we do a good job. We prevent the explosive plays, we'll be in a better position.
Related to Adam's question about the trade deadline tomorrow, how do you balance that innate competitiveness that you're obviously trying to go 12-4 the rest of the year versus weighing the long-term interests of the franchise?
I mean, you think it's, I get what you're saying, but with Chris and Mike doing what they do, they have a great way of, like when we have to get together and some kind of decision is made, they lay everything out so black and white for me that it makes decisions really easy if for my part of the vote. So those guys do a great job of laying things out the right way. They have a vision of how this thing should be, and if something came up where they thought that was best for us, it's not too hard to convince me. Like if they bring something to me, they're really good at making sure that I see what they're saying.
But you would lose 10 more guys and keep trying. I mean, would you be able to accept that at some point if it is time to be a seller at the trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, how many days we got left? All right, so I mean, there's nothing that's going to happen. Well, I shouldn't say that because around here, like, who knows what will happen? But it would.
Would you ever be able to stomach that? Would you ever? Are you capable of that?
Probably not. So, I mean, probably not. That's just not me. So, unless they brought me something that they thought was a great idea, then I would do what's best for the organization. But highly unlikely that something like that would happen.
You feel comfortable that Devontae will be here past tomorrow?
Yeah, I do.
You know what the status is being for this week?
I do not right now. I mean, he's pushing. He wants it. I mean, he's a guy that's not. He don't want to miss games. So I know last week killed him. I mean, he was out of his control, and I know he's going to do everything he can to get back for this game. I just want to make sure that we're not putting him out there too early to where he has a setback, and now we lose him for a longer time.
Adam, we know it's a week-to-week process, but with the way that things have been going lately, do you still tell these guys we're still conscientiously in the thick of the playoff race?
Yeah. I mean, what are we, one of 8 teams that have over 500 record, right? Like, now it's who wins the second half of the season. That's what we have to focus on this week. And then once you're handled this week, then you go to the next one. You know, but, I mean, we're so far. Last year we were as deep of a hole as you can get in. And we beat New England. We have to win one game, and all of a sudden you're playing the last game for the spot. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's crazy. Like, you watch. I mean, everybody in this room probably watched games yesterday and went, "Wow, there's a lot of football where you're going, well, are we better than this team? Are we better than this team?" And everybody's just bunched up. There's like 2 or 3 teams per side that are kind of separated themselves where you notice, like, wow, that team's really good. Like, you watch Kansas City, you go, wow, they're really good on offense. You know, you watch LA, they're really good. So, I mean, past that, I feel like a whole bunch of people are clumped together. It's just kind of week to week the way it's going right now.
The defense, I just want to understand what you're saying about the defense. I mean, it sounds like you like the players you have, you like the coaches you have, but the players are not adhering to what they're being told.
No, it's not that. It's just that we have to play it better as a group. And that's what happens sometimes in football, where either side of the ball, any of the 3 phases, to where, you know, D-line and linebackers and the safeties have to kind of play together in the run game, and then everybody really has to work together in the passing game. And sometimes you can get off, and you can, you know, the front could be kind of seeing it one way, where the linebackers see it a different way. Like, things like that happens. We need to do a better job of making sure all 11 guys are really working together, because that gives us the best chance. Sometimes when you have different, like you play Houston, when you got 99 and 90 there who are just wrecking the game nonstop, you have errors, and they kind of cover up for you. Where right now we've had guys in and out to where we need to play as a group. You know, we haven't, like, some of our, I would say, like, losing William Hayes, like, he has been like our enforcer in the run game. Like, he's not there anymore. Like, we have to figure out a different way to handle things, because where he would just be like, boom, set the edge, that was it, it's done. It wasn't anybody else. He did it that well. And we could adjust to the other side to say, all right, we can help here. And right now, we need all 11 guys to do a great job together, because we don't have one guy that could just handle one side, or, you know, one linebacker that makes every play. Like, we need to work as a group.
When you watch games, do you watch them as a fan, or do you try to scout or look at scheme or those type things?
I think I kind of just take it in as the game's going on. Like, there'll be situations that come up, and like, for me, I always know when it must have been really good, because Rizzy will start texting me, "Did you see this?" You know, and there's always a special teams play too. So, like the Carolina game yesterday, when they take a delay game and then they throw it to Greg Olsen, they get 3 points at the end of the half. You know, like stuff like that. I guess most of us probably look at it situationally, and there'll be times where you see a player like, oh, I wonder what that was, and you write a note down to say, hey, watch the Rams-Green Bay game. You know, I think I saw some stuff that Green Bay did defensively that I thought was interesting, you know, as far as that might just write that down for when we play them, of, hey, just a reminder to look at this. You know, and then there's a part of you that just watches it as, sometimes when we watch Kansas City, you just sit back and just watch, because, I mean, it just seems like they're out there playing 7-on-7. You know, I mean, it's impressive to watch.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the interviews. I hope you enjoyed the show. And as always, if you did, please hit the subscribe button, you know, share it with your friends, post on Facebook, you know, whatever. Hit the like button, and definitely leave me some comments, questions, concerns, anything you'd like to see or hear in the videos. You know, stuff like that. So definitely let me know. And of course, the most important thing is subscribe. So with that said, I'll see you guys soon, and Phins up.